The Christie administration sowed the seeds, and now the Minnis government is looking to reap the harvest of a 2014 deal with Haiti. JCN's Jillian Gray tells us more about the pact struck with Haiti and why the agriculture minister insists local farmers can rest easy.
The government's imposed another end-of-year deadline, this time for Haitian products to be in Bahamian stores. But what says the Bahamian farmer who may be apprehensive, seeing as it's their livelihood that we're speaking about? Well, we caught up with the Minister of Agriculture, who was in the room when the Prime Minister struck the deal, and he says farmers have nothing to worry about.
I want the farmers, the fishermen in this country to understand and know that we are their servants. I hear them, and I also want them to know that we are not going to do anything that's going to cause them to not be able to enjoy the fruits of their labors in this country. All we were saying to the Haitian government and the agreement we made is that the produce and the products that Haiti currently exports to the United States, that we purchase from the U.S. Haiti exports to mangoes, coffee, and other things into the United States. We then purchase these things from the U.S. to bring them to the Bahamas. And we're saying rather than having the United States as a middleman, we can have direct trade with Haiti, which is the desire of the Haitian government and the Haitian farmers and the Haitian people. So we're not going to be important any more than what we currently import.
The agreement, once in effect, calls for distributors here in the Bahamas to buy directly from Haiti. Now, whether this process can actually happen is another issue, as there are a number of regulations Haiti must meet.
We have certain phytosanitary rules, certain shipping rules that Haiti has to meet. They have to have containerized shipping, which they currently do not have to the Bahamas. Their phytosanitary requirements need to be increased in that we have to be able to source exactly which farm your produce came from. That is not readily resident in Haiti at this point in time. So the Haitian government has committed to raise their standard so that they can meet our requirements, so that they would be able, so that Bahamian business persons can actually trade directly with Haiti.
Minister Wells says after seeing President Moses give the orders to his respective entities, he's certain that they are capable of meeting the requirements. Now, there's nothing new about this agreement, as a memorandum of understanding was signed by the previous government back in 2014, and that's what the opposition wants to make clear, that the Minnis administration hasn't broken any new ground, but simply is continuing the PLPs. To that, Mr. Wells responded with this.
Governments are continuous. They started the process, and we're just ensuring that the Bahamian people and the Bahamian farmers are not disenfranchised in any which way. We're not a government that tears up agreements. So at the end of the day, we met with the Haitian president and his delegation, all of his ministers. They were very much interested in building the bilateral relationship with the Bahamas, and we're going to protect the interests of the Bahamian people as best we can.
The Bahamas only produces 8% of its food, a figure the minister is determined to increase. This while the Haitian export market is valued at $1.15 billion. For JCN News, I'm Jillian Gray.
Well, quite a large Bahamian delegation over in Haiti this past weekend. We're talking about the Prime Minister, along with 5 cabinet ministers, the Bahamas' High Commissioner to CARICOM, Reuben Ramming, along with F&M MP Donald Saunders. Add to that 2 spouses, Senior Policy Advisor Joshua Sears, Acting Director of Agriculture Gregory Ramming, Foreign Service Officer Enka Ward, 2 personal assistants, a protocol officer, aides and media personnel, and you have well over 20 people boarding a plane. And that's exactly what the opposition is taking issue with. In a release, PLP Chairman and former Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell charges that the F&M came to office with shocking ignorance of the ways of the world, but now are flying into international meetings apace with large delegations, which it criticized while in opposition. It was during his maiden budget speech in the House of Assembly last June that newly minted Foreign Affairs Minister Darren Henfield declared that the Bahamas does not have to attend every meeting that takes place in every corner of the globe. Instead, there was the plan to make better use of modern technology to participate in meetings by video conferencing to cut down on the cost and the waste. The minister at the time also announced several criteria for overseas trips. That included not traveling first class, attending meetings that were in line with the country's national development and strategic goals, and having a delegation that played a critical role. After all, the idea, he said, was to ensure Bahamians get value for their taxpayer dollars. And according to Minister Wells, this was exactly the case.
The Bahamian people have elected us to do their business. At the end of the day, there was 2 meetings. The Bahamian people have to think about it in terms of, we had a direct bilateral meeting with the Haitian government. So the Prime Minister took with him all of the requisite ministers who could speak to the issues that we have with Haiti. So that was the first meeting. After that meeting, there was a CARICOM sessional heads of government meeting. And as you can see, some of the ministers are still in Haiti today, dealing with the Caribbean sessional heads of government. The Prime Minister spoke to whatever issues he wanted to speak to in CARICOM yesterday, and now we're here to have a cabinet meeting this morning. So that's why the requisite ministers who could speak to it was taken. And we're not a government who is interested in just spending willy-nilly. As the Bahamian people know, when we spend because it is in the Bahamian people's interest. It is what was expected, and the contingent that went met the requirements of the meeting that we were having.
Now, last month, the Prime Minister took a $40,000 trip to Texas as part of an investment promotion. Well, no longer business as usual. Works Minister Desmond Bannister today telling reporters the process for negotiating, bidding, and awarding contracts will change. This in light of a recent audit into Bahamas Power and Light that found several hair-raising abuses from the tender process not being followed to contracts being awarded to vendors who had not even been selected.
But BPL has a long way to go. They have critical issues at Clifton that have to be addressed, legacy issues. You have critical issues in Abaco, as you have seen, and in a number of family islands. In fact, we are moving some generators from certain areas to go into Abaco now, to be able to ensure that we meet the needs of Abaco for the summer. By the same token, we're also looking at solar generation, solar power in a number of family islands. But these are not overnight fixes. These are problems that have been there for decades, and they're problems that we're not going to fix overnight, but we are determined that we are going to get the best of it, and we're going to provide reliable.
And as for what the public can expect?
There was no process where persons could come in and bid on contracts. They were simply negotiated to political supporters and to other individuals. That's over $200 million. We are seeking to change that process, so the process is more transparent, and the process is inures to the benefit of Bahamians.
Well, Minister Bannister also revealing that having done away with BPL's foreign management team, Power Secure, the company's been undergoing a number of changes, but there are still some ways to go in addressing a number of key areas.
I think when we change that process, you're going to see lots of things happening. So, for example, I was in Elutra the other day, and we may have to spend anywhere from $10 to almost $40 million to replace a bridge, which is critical for Elutra, and which is critical for tourism. When we change the process from negotiating contracts, and people have to bid on the process, you're going to see more value for the Bahamian people, because nobody's going to be able to take their best buddy and say, listen, you can have this contract, and you can come in and pay us $30 million, and this is your contract. The extent to which that was done, where, for example, someone could get a $22 million contract by a negotiating process, was unheard of, should never happen in the Bahamas again.
Power outages recently hit the island of Abaco, leaving residents there in the dark for a week. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Alive.